Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the Krsnatarian way of cooking. I am Radhika Pyari Devidasi. I know that since a long time to my viewers I have not shared any of the cooking videos, but please know that times have been very much busy and things I have been occupied with an alternative thing which I have been doing. But I have come up with 3 recipes in this one video, so that can little bit compensate for the times I was not available on the channel. So here I am sharing with you a falafel recipe along with the homemade hummus and the pita bread with it. This recipe is pretty simple even though it looks very complicated, but if you will try it, then you're gonna love it. So let's look into the recipe. Here I have taken around 2 cups of chole or chickpeas and I soak them overnight. Soaking method is you put a lot of water and then on the top pour some acidic medium and then do not move it. Just cover it and soak for overnight. This is what I have done. From this I am going to make hummus and also the falafel. So you can divide half portion of it. Here I have taken around 1.5 cup of all-purpose flour and then around half cup of wheat flour. Mixed everything nicely. Now in this I added around 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now I have added around 1 packet of quick rice yeast. This particular yeast is a bread yeast, so it doesn't need traditional setting period of soaking and everything, so I have directly mixed it. So it's 1 full packet, which is enough for this much flour. Now I'm going to mix everything nicely. After mixing it nicely, then I'm going to add around 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. This is a good binding mixture. Now here I'm going to take a little bit of lukewarm water and then start binding it. Don't use too much water. Just use enough so that it can be made into a chapati dough. So this is actually around 1 cup of water I used. And if you see how I'm binding it, just trying to use not too much water. Enough to bind with your hand. Now if your dough is binded like this, you want to use a little bit of oil in your hand to just knead it more smooth, you can do it. Or keep on binding for at least 10 minutes. Cover it like this with a saran wrap. Saran wrap gives nice heat. And then keep this aside for around 30 minutes. Now here I have 1 portion of the chickpea. The remaining I have kept for the hummus. And now we are going to make the falafel. In India, if it is not possible to get parsley easily, that is the reason why I have used cilantro here. Cilantro is also one of the decent option for making the falafel. But if you are in the West and if you have access to parsley, then just use that. So I've used around a bunch of cilantro and then added around 2 to 3 chunks of ginger. Now here I crushed some cumin seed into powder. This is around 1 teaspoon. Then I added 1 teaspoon of white pepper powder. In this I have added around 1.5 teaspoon of red chili powder. Then in this I have added around 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You can even use baking soda, not a problem. Then I just processed it into a coarse paste. If you see, it is not actually completely blended into a smooth thing. It is actually a coarse paste. So this is the kind of paste you need. No water is needed. Just use the processor and make this kind of paste. Now I am going to add around 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now this is chickpea. So chickpea is kind of a little bit bland. So make sure that you add good amount of salt. Not too much salt also, because the hummus will also have some salt. But at least decent salt so that it is not too bland. Just mix everything nicely. Now you can refrigerate this falafel in the fridge for around 30 minutes. After 10 to 15 minutes, put some oil in a wok or in a medium saucepan and keep it on low until this falafel gets nicely refrigerated. Now the remaining chickpea which was there, I had pressure cooked it until it softened, and this is what we are going to use for the hummus. Keep little bit of the water from this chickpeas and the remaining you can drain it. But for the time being, we will let it cool down completely. And first, we will prepare the other mixture for the hummus. Now in this saucepan, I have taken around half cup of sesame seeds, nicely roasted on low flame or heat. Once it is roasted nicely and cooled down, then I am going to add it to a mixture. In this, I am going to add a little bit of lemon juice and then blend it. Now this lemon juice was around a quarter cup. Now I added the chickpeas, added around 1.5 teaspoon of salt, then I added the cumin powder which was around 1 teaspoon and then blended in the processor. Now there is already this sesame paste. You can add little bit of that chickpea water which I told you to save, just to get this kind of smooth consistency, which I also did. And this will make your homemade hummus. Make sure that the sesame seeds are roasted really well and the lemon juice which you are using. It is a good preservative along with the salt. Now on top of this, I am going to add or just sprinkle more cumin seed powder and some red chili powder. Cover it with a saran wrap and then keep it in the fridge. The falafel mixture which was placed in the refrigerator, I'm going to remove that out. My oil is also heating on the side. I will take a little bit of water in my hand and then gently make the small balls one by one. You can make these balls in batches and then fry them at once, or you can make the entire balls together. It was very easy. See, if the mixture is sticky, that's why you have to use a little bit of water, or you can even use some olive oil on your hand. But already this entire mixture will be easy to roll. Now I'm going to fry it. The heat is on medium. You want to make sure that the entire falafel, it actually gets cooked nicely. So do not have the heat on extreme high and also not on extreme low. Medium is perfect. This falafels took around like 5 to 7 minutes to fry, and they should turn like brown color. Not even golden brown, but little brown color, which is okay. The falafel will be soft from inside and have a crispy texture from outside because of the chickpeas. So if you see, these falafels have turned nice and brown. Remove them out. Fry the remaining batch in similar manner. Now I'll show you how to make the pita bread. So dough which was actually setting, see, it has risen. Now I'm going to again knead it for a couple of minutes. Kneading is important because once the bread or this dough has risen, it needs to get again active, and this is the reason why the second time kneading is important, so that the pita bread will nicely puff. Now remove little bit of the portion from it. Again knead it with your palms, like how I am doing. Now you see, this dough, I'm going to sprinkle some little bit of flour on it. Don't use too much flour for the pita bread, it's not needed. Just a little bit of flour and then start rolling it. Now you see this rolling pin which I have used, it is a little thicker rolling pin. What happens is that this kind of rolling pin helps with the equal thickness of the pita bread. So I would recommend this kind of rolling pin instead of the flat one. Now the size which you need is around 6 to 7 inches, so that it is enough thick and not too thick as well. So now this is ready. The pan was hot on medium, so I placed it like this. Being on medium heat, you want to make sure there are some bubbles. So see these bubbles which are popping out? After a few seconds it actually becomes like this. So once these bubbles are showing up, then you flip it to the other side. Then cook similar manner the other side as well. So once both the sides are cooked evenly like this, then you can again flip it and then let the heat puff the pita bread. This is what we want. The puffing actually is helpful because we want a pocket of the bread. And now I'll remove it out and do the remaining similar manner. Let it cool down a little bit, not too much. This is how the pocket has to be. Now all the pita breads are ready. And here I'm going to place the hummus first inside it. This hummus is also nicely chilled. I have also taken some veggies like lettuce, dill pickles and fresh tomatoes. You can use cucumber if you do not have dill pickles, but dill pickles add a good tanginess to it. See how I have added the hummus and then the lettuce, tomatoes and the dill pickles inside. Now I'm going to use this falafel. Just with your hand crush it a little bit. Then again put the hummus and the lettuce on top. This is how the dressing has to be. So here the pita bread is ready with the falafel and the hummus. Like this, I'm going to do all the remaining ones, showing you the similar way. Make sure there is enough hummus because the dressing like this gives an extra flavor to the entire pita bread, and especially being Indians, we like good amount of sauce or chutney to it. So this is the entire recipe of the falafel, the hummus and the pita bread. I hope it was easy to understand and hopefully you will get to try it. I will try to come with more such recipes. I have actually prepared a lot of recipes, but not getting enough time to shoot them. But just stay tuned. I will be doing it soon and then present them to you. Now with the final touch of placing the tulsi leaf and offering it at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Thank you so much for watching and being patient with me and sticking around. Hare Krishna.